Promotions. I'm here with Steve from the Burner Room Recording Studio in Oak Ridge, New Jersey. How's it going, Steve?
What's up, Dave? It's going very well. Thanks for having me. I'm psyched to be here. Psyched to chat with you. I love what you do, and it's awesome to have a conversation with you about this stuff.
Right back at you, my friend. Let's jump right into it. So, when and how did you start up the recording studio?
So I tell a lot of people I kind of started from being in a band first. My high school bands, it really took, I guess, flight when my high school band, Vanetta High. It's been a long time since then, maybe about 19 years. But I went to the studio, like a real studio, for the first time, and I realized I like that side of things even more than I think being in a band. I had such a good time, taking an idea that me and my 16-year-old friends at the time, we wrote in a basement, and we bring it to a studio, and we got to make it sound like bigger than we even thought it was capable of. So kind of seeing like, wow, they took our pretty decent idea and made it sound like a finished, record. That kind of opened my eyes. Like, I've always been into, big fan of music, lots of music growing up. All I wanted to do was be in a band and, play stages across the country, across the world. When I got into the studio for the first few times, I was like, wait a minute, maybe this is my favorite thing now. Move out the way. I don't know if I want to be on stage as much as I want to help other bands be on stage. And I started recording my friends' bands in high school, and I ended up going to New York University for the music tech program. Took a risk going to school for sound, but it was one of the coolest, best decisions I ever made. Got to live in New York City for 4 years, surrounded by talented people from all over the world. And it kind of just gave me the bug. I realized, like, if I can help someone take an idea that starts in their head and make it a reality, because I knew what it meant for me as an artist, and it gave me such a confidence. It's like someone else believed in me, and now I have this recording I could share with my friends, my family, and people all around the world as well. And once I saw that, I was like, I think I want to do this forever. Find a way to discover the next band and record their biggest record. Just kind of help people get their ideas into a place that they're like, I made that, I'm proud of it. And yeah, it's funny. I still feel the same way as I did when I like first started recording kids in my bedroom at the time, and doing vocals in a closet while I'm sitting on my bed on a computer. It's I've had a lot of funny recording sessions, and I still feel the same like excitement every time I can help someone, work on an idea. Because like I said, when someone believed in me, I remember what that did. It like changed my outlook. It gave me a validity and a confidence that I think I still carry to this day, that like, yeah, my first, if I show you my song, you might not think it's very good, but I know that it can be very good. Maybe with the help of a producer, or like, a better guitarist than me. And yeah, I'm like addicted to trying to help people make music and like get the song outside of their head, so that they can kind of like sit back and, listen to it as a fan instead of just the person that wrote it. So, story, I guess it's been since I was like 16 years old. I'm coming up on 36. Good God, 20 years of trying to record music, amateur all the way to now I do it professionally, full time, running this studio in Oak Ridge, which I've been there for about 3 years. I was at a studio in my parents' basement for, the 9 years before that. And I just kind of always have found ways to keep making music. This studio has kind of changed my life. It's been such a blessing, and it's great when I get people to come out there. I got to get you to come out there someday. It's right on the lake. There's actual sunlight. It's an inspiring place to make music, and it's really cool. Like, any day that I get to spend there working on music, rain or shine, is a good day. So.
Well, I'm gonna be back home in a couple of weeks, so I'm gonna hit you up.
Do it. Let's do it. Yeah, man. We'll hang out. There's a couple of nice places to eat by there, and it's, we'll just listen to music. And it's one of my favorite things is just like listening to music on the speakers, kicking your feet up and being like, yo, what's your favorite record? Let's put it on. Let's see what it sounds like in this room.
That's what it's all about, man. Right on. I
Awesome.
just think it's funny how like most people like hate that part of the whole music thing. It's their least favorite part, but for you, you just like super enjoy it, and it's one of your favorite parts. It's funny how that
Yeah.
works.
Right. And I've encountered lots of musicians that, I try to make it when I'm in the studio, like it should be fun. Obviously, we're doing hard work, but hard work is satisfying when you're with the right people and you could like, really assemble. It's like opening up an IKEA box and you're like, how the hell am I going to do this? And then your friend comes over and you're like, look at what we did together. We built this, now my futon, and it's kind of like that all the time where it's you get the right people in the right room and the hard work just it doesn't seem so difficult. You're making art, there's a lot of million decisions that go into recording a song, but I try to make it fun and I try to be a hype person for everyone I'm working with so that it's like, yeah, we're going to have doubts. We're going to have plenty of doubts, but that's what we're here to do, be vulnerable, and then hopefully we capture something special on tape, as they say, or on computer nowadays. But yeah, it's good. I think one of the things I enjoy most, the first time I work with any artist, we usually have like a pretty big heart to heart because I want to get to know them, what makes them make this music, what are they looking to achieve, why can I, or like how can I help, why me, what can I do, whether it's just like, hey, good take, bad take, or if it's like, no, let's dive in, maybe we could make this guitar part cooler, a little more fitting of the bass guitar. And it's I'm in it to win it with anyone I work with, whether they're a bigger artist or just like, hey, nobody knows I make music, I'm doing this privately, so don't tell anyone. I'm like, whatever, we'll make something fun. But yeah, I know what you mean. Some artists are like, I call it being under the microscope because you're like, yeah, I don't want to play my song 1,000 times today to get the parts right. And it's like, sometimes it only takes 2 or 3 times, but, I try to meet artists where they're at, and it should be fun. And there's always like a million ways you can make a recording. So it's kind of, you develop a bit of a strategy and you're like, how do I get this? Sometimes you record really nervous or anxious people, but they've got a great song. So it's like, what can I do to get you into the zone of like, let's make a record, let's make something that, I always say, let's make something that changes someone's life, like if you can do that, or at least aim for it, you're gonna be hopefully satisfied in the end. A lot of singers are like, I could sing better. I'm like, prove it. Let's do it. Do another take. Let's beat the last one. And I love that. It's like I like I said before, I try to be a hype person for people, because making art it's easy to feel insecure, and it comes from every angle. Whether it's just the demo stage or like, hey, I released my last song and nobody cared, and it's like, that's like a whole nother conversation nowadays when it comes to social media and making content. But I try to help artists like with more than just the audio. I have like a bunch of friends that I'm like happy to put people in touch, even if it means I become less necessary. I've realized I've dealt with a lot of engineers and studios over the years. They're sort of like, there's a bit of gatekeeping that comes with the territory. I try to just be an open door and make it so like, if I have a resource that can help you as a band, like I'm not going to hold it from you. I'm just going to connect the two dots and hopefully something good happens. So
That's so sick, so inspiring, and so motivating. I think I'm just gonna go and join a band now, and then go to your studio and record with you.
oh, awesome, man. That's great. I try to inspire people because it's, it's like half of the game is I felt something and I made a song about it. And, sometimes it's very surface level, but it's a good song. Sometimes it's so much deeper than, what made someone write a song is like, they don't even want to tell me. And I'm like, I'm not going to push it. I don't need to know. But if you ever want to talk about it, like sometimes that actually helps us. If we're about to go record a vocal and it's a sad song, maybe we should get sad, like maybe we should get, why'd you write the song? Like, let's talk about that. And okay, wow, we're feeling it. Like, get in the booth, go record. You sound like you're ready to tell me. And it's like, I'd rather you tell me on the microphone, So it's great. It's always a pleasure working with people. It's like a blessing that people trust me enough So I try to give that same respect back to anyone I work with and just, you know, hype them up. Bad takes happen. So it's like, yeah, we cracked a little bit, but let's do it again. We're going to get through it. You know?
That's incredible, man. So as far as like producers go, like who would you say your favorite producer is? Who would you say your biggest influence is?
Oh man. One of the things when I was growing up, I listened to a lot of The Used. And, you know, I was like, who the heck recorded this? John Feldman. John Feldman from Goldfinger. Oh man, shaped our youth probably. You play a little Tony Hawk back in the day. I was a hardcore skater like until I was probably 20 years old, and I broke my ankle and stopped skating as much because I was just like a couple broken wrists, couple broken bones. But that soundtrack, especially the Superman song. But fast forward to a couple, you know, a different time when I first heard The Used, I was like, wow, this band is amazing. And then I started following John Feldman of all the different records he worked on, like all these different artists over the years. I loved the polished sound that he kind of got, very like high fidelity, but also there's like a rawness. You know, he was able to capture a lot of things that, especially with The Used, like, man, the angst on that first record they put out, like I still get the chills. I remember, yeah, like I would just, I would go to the skate park and I listened to that in headphones and I'm like, damn, somebody gets me out there, you know, like, but that was like, it was interesting because when I was in high school and I was in and out of bands, it was like, I still wanted to make it. I wanted to be a band that like everyone knew. And, but I was also, looking back, I found myself like, oh yeah, I was admiring certain producers, you know, lots of good producers out there. One guy, Sam Pura, I love. Story So Far, 100th. He makes so many good records and he seems like a really fun guy to like hang out in a room with. So it's like, I tried to kind of work a lot of my early productions. I was like, I just wanted to sound like a Feldman record, you know, like high production value. Sounds like a lot of money was spent, but like, you know, some magical moments were captured on the computer. And yeah, I would say John Feldman got me through a lot of like, you know, of my emo years as a artist and stuff. And it's like every time he works on something, you know, it's going to sound good. And he's gone on to work with Blink-182. I think he was 5 Seconds of Summer. Like he's done huge records from, you know, really raw punk bands, rock bands to, you know, straight up radio pop. And I would love to have that sort of appeal with artists. Like I work with a lot of different genres and I would love to be trusted with like a good rock record, or, you know what, we're making pop today. Like, let's do it. Let me put on my pop hat and, you know, try to pull out some tricks from other productions. And that's what I've fallen in love with, like studying sound over the years. I unfortunately, as the deeper I got into sound engineering, the like further away I kind of got from listening to music as like a normal listener. Someone shows me their song, they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, that's a dope snare tone. And they're like, no, like, what do you think of the song? And I'm like, oh, I actually didn't listen to the song. I listened to the sound. Let me listen again and I'll get back to you. You know, it's a gift and a curse. But I've gotten a little better at like switching, you know, hitting a switch and sort of being like, I'm not going to listen as an engineer. I'm just going to listen as a fan of music. Okay, now I'm going to listen as an engineer. We could fix this and that if we wanted to. You know, it's like, try to approach it as just a fan of music first. Whereas maybe my college years, I was a little more obsessed with like, we got to do things the right way. We can record this better if we do it the right way. I've sort of taken a step back with that. As the longer I do it, I tell people, I'm like, there's no right way. There's a way. There might be another way that sounds the same. We can approach this from a million different angles and get a million different results. So, back to what I was saying about studying sound, I just try to listen to things. I get a lot of songs shown to me when I'm working with an artist and they're like, I really would love, you know, the project to sound like this. So whenever I get that, I try to dissect it, you know, discuss what I'm hearing in it, whether it's the type of reverb or delay on the vocal, you know, if it's a radio effects, you know, lots of production effects. How do we get the drums to sound like this? Okay, there's always a way to do it. Sometimes the ways cost more money. to get to that high production value. But you know, I try to explain these things to people because I've learned if I can teach the artists that I work with like what I'm doing, they understand better and we actually get better results. Like it's not about keeping the knowledge to myself and be like, we're doing it because I said so. It's like, no, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a better way to do this. Let's try this. And okay, yeah, I was wrong. Let's do it this way. You were right. Like, but it's always fun. It should be laid back. It's definitely a passion. I find myself surprised after all these years. Like I'm still happy to do it. It's not just work. It is my career now, but it is like I feel lucky to do that any day of the week and just be like, wow, all I had to do today was mix a couple of songs. Like that's a fucking great day, you know?
That's what I call living the engineer life.
Yeah. A bit of living the dream, you know?
That's incredible. So if you could go work with one big band, who would it be?
Oh man. I don't know if I've even been asked that question in a long time. And I'm like, recently I've started thinking of that. I mean, one of the favorites would probably be a band like if I could record a song with Blink-182, I'd consider it like I'm good. That was definitely the reason I picked up guitar. The first song I learned was Pathetic by, you know, off Dude Ranch, and it was like, okay, I really, really like this kind of stuff. Getting to work with them would be wild. I don't know. I'm nervous at the concept of it, but you know, artists like them, Under Oath would be amazing. I've always been a big Under Oath fan. I regrettably haven't listened to the new record yet. I saw it came out like over the weekend, and I'm like, I gotta make some time. It's one of the hard parts of working in a studio all day. Like I'm listening to music all day, but a lot of it is for work. So I get sidetracked sometimes. Like last week, I put on the new A Day to Remember record, and I was like, I'm supposed to be mixing. But I was like, this is good, right? Like this is inspiring me to mix better, and you know, it helps. But yeah, Under Oath, Blink-182. One of my old favorite bands is this band called As Cities Burn. They're not really around anymore. They sort of pop up every now and then, but very big, like emotional music, hardcore. You know, it kind of gets the whole spectrum of emotion. You get really sad, not as much happy, but I feel like I've always related and resonated with music like that, that, you know, if someone's yelling in, I'm like, I'm going to like this. I'm going to like this.
As long as the music's good and fun and all that, that's all that matters.
Yeah. But I would say to expand on that, like any band, you know, there's so many good bands like local. One of my goals as a studio owner, I'm really trying to solve the problem of how can I create a space where people can crash, you know, and they could come from farther distances and spend a couple days in the studio. You know, obviously there's like hotels, Airbnbs nearby. It's one of those things though. I'm like, you know, when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was go to the studio for like 2 weeks and, you know, lock in, make something really special, labor over it, and then be like, all right, we got something to put out. And I would love to be able to offer that a little bit more of a cozy, you know, you could sleep in the basement of this studio and then I'll see you in the morning. Like,
that'd be so dope. You got this. You can make it happen.
I'm figuring it out. It's a little bit of a construction problem I'm trying to solve, but I'm like, yeah, I just need maybe if there's any contractors out there, send me a message. I could use all the help, you know.
Hopefully all the contractors out there are watching this and listening in.
Right. And they also have bands. So it's like, oh, let's talk.
Perfect. Win-win. We all win.
Right. I'll record your band's demo if you help me renovate the basement.
So you're from Oak Ridge, New Jersey, my home state, greatest state in America, I think. So for the people that don't know, how would you say the scene is there? Do you have a favorite local band, a favorite venue?
You know, the scene, I regrettably feel like I'm not too much a part of the local scene as I was like 10, 15 years ago. I'm not as much of a musician playing shows, so I used to be very connected. But the local scene in New Jersey has always been really amazing. I think of the Thursday song where they say like in the shadow of the New York skyline. I'm like, that is how New Jersey has always been like, you know, we're not New York. It's like yeah, we're kind of better, you know, we're not as we're not as dirty. We are our own version of dirty, but like Jersey, you know, South Jersey, North Jersey, Central Jersey, everything has such a different vibe and scene. And the music that has come out of the New Jersey over the, you know, from My Chemical Romance to Senses Fail, like it just, there's no shortage of inspiration, it seems. Whether it's being so close to the city, but not actually a part of it, or just, you know, being also able to go to New York to see a show. And basically any band that's touring is going to stop in New York. I think the scene's great. It's definitely changed in my own perspective. Again, that could be because I'm not going to as many shows as I used to. You know, it used to be like I'll be at 30, 40 shows a year. Now I'm like probably at like a dozen. You know, I work too much, so I go see the bands that I work with when they tell me they're playing a show. I try to just do that. I feel like the scene has changed mostly, that they used to have shows at VFWs and Elks Lodges like every weekend. And I think in the early 2000s, like there were just too many accidents at these venues. Cause I remember like one by one, these venues just were like, yeah, we're not doing this shit anymore. You can't suplex your friend through a table. This is an Elks Lodge. And I'm like, I get it, but it's part of what makes the experience really cool, you know. Where I met you was at the Meat Locker. Meat Locker has such a cool vibe in Montclair. It's a basement, concrete basement with graffiti all over the walls. They put on hip hop shows to rock shows to like metal. It's one of those like perfect representation of how I remember New Jersey being when I was growing up and playing in bands. And I mean, favorite band from New Jersey, all the bands I work with, most of them are New Jersey, tri-state area. There's so many good bands. It's like, I'm afraid to even pick one, but I still go back to, you know, Senses Fail. I just saw them like a few months ago at the Wellmont, and such an amazing, it was for the Let It Enfold You album. What was it? 25 years, I guess, which is wild. They still do it for me, you know, like My Chemical Romance, they've been gigging and stuff. It's fun to imagine a time where like I remember seeing them at my local VFW and like hidden in plain view. I think they're Jersey. I don't know if they're New York or
yeah, they're Jersey. They're Morristown.
Okay, that's even closer to me now. That's wild. Yeah, like seeing these local shows with bands that went on to become monsters, and like wow, to see like the, you know, I come from the Pure Volume, the MySpace, the MP3.com days. Like I remember finding all of these bands, and this was before I even went to shows, but just being like, wow, like, yeah, someone out there gets me, and I want to be a part of this. So I started, you know, I dyed my hair, got the tight pants. I was the first kid in my high school to wear girl jeans because they didn't make tight pants for guys back then.
Gotta be a trendsetter.
Yeah, you know, occasionally I had some bell bottoms that weren't maybe too cool, but you know, I worked it. My emo band, I had real long hair, and it was like, you know, I think the scene has always created such a good culture. It's been so, I feel lucky to grow up in Jersey, and then in hindsight look back at all the big bands that have come from Jersey, and it's like, yeah, I know where they came from. Like I used to see Senses Fail going to the pizza place in the town where they rehearsed, which was the town next to where I grew up. And it was like, that's awesome. You know, should I go and get a slice of pizza? It's like, well, you want to be a creep. Yeah, just go get a slice of pizza and talk to them. And yeah, I kind of loved that. I always had the dream of being like, I want to be one of those bands that inspires other musicians to pick up a guitar, or like, you know, because I was lucky enough to grow up around, like, my brother's a musician. My parents are very musical, although neither of them really played instruments. So just like fans of music, going to local shows down the street, garage full of smoke. I'm like 12 years old. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but this is awesome. Yeah. So yeah, it's an infectious place to live. I would, I mean, the scene's coming back. I've seen a lot of different, you know, signs that like the scene's healthy. I'm just not really in it like I was when I was a teenager. There's more bands than ever. So on that look, it's like, yeah, it must be thriving. You know, I just got to kind of tap back in myself.
You just made me feel like I just went back in a time machine back to like 2003, 2004 in Randolph, Randolph Middle School and all that, and like going to like VFW shows and seeing local bands, and yeah, I'm getting goosebumps now just like thinking about it.
Yeah, I romanticize the past. It was a good childhood to grow up through and be a part of. So it's like I recently have been listening to, like, I found my old CD booklet that when I was a kid burned all these CDs. So I'm like putting on Taking Back Sunday's first album and the My Chemical Romance, Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. Like all of these bands and these records, and it's been fun. I try not to feed nostalgia in a sad way. I always am like, no, this is my DNA. It's my blueprint. So let's not look back with sadness. Let's look forward with like, yeah, let's bring this into the future. And emo's coming back. These bands, it's like, Warped Tour's back this year. It's kind of it's funny to see the cycle of trends, and it's like I'm now cool again because I liked all that music back then. I haven't been cool for maybe 15 years, but now I'm cool.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. It's really beautiful to see it doing a full circle, and hopefully it'll be like this for the rest of our time on this beautiful earth.
Yep. I'm hoping as well.
Right on, man. That's super dope. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's going to help me to get to know you as a person. I did this with the other bands. Are you ready to roll?
I'm ready, man. I'm a little nervous now. I'm like, oh my gosh, let's do it.
All right, first one. Favorite video game?
Oh my God. It is The Legend of Zelda. I mean, to be specific, The Link to the Past. But the first tattoo I got when I was 16 was the Triforce on my wrist. So
That's good.
I'm a Zelda guy. Everyone sees it and they're like, the Triforce is on the top of their hand in the games. And I'm like, well, I was 16 and I wanted to be able to hide it under a collared shirt so no one, knows that I have tattoos. I think I lied to my high school girlfriend's parents. They were like, "Well, what is that?" And I'm like, "It's a Japanese symbol for courage." And they were like, "Wow, that's really deep." And I'm like, "You bought that?" Yes. And technically that's not a lie. It's like courage, wisdom, and strength. What is it?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, it's not a video game. But yeah, I'm a big Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy. I love video games. That's like another part of my DNA. And I'd say like another reason I love music, good video game soundtracks, like The Legend of Zelda, man, always good soundtracks. So that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that.
It's funny that you said that because I obviously I grew up with it, like with you, and I don't think I ever played it.
Oh man,
which is wild, and it's because I was too busy playing like Tony Hawk and CDR and
yes,
Madden and NHL and MLB and all that. So
all good games.
So yeah, I missed it because of all that. So that's my excuse.
I was always into the RPGs back from Super Nintendo. I always played those role-playing games, and Zelda is one of those games that I think a lot of people missed as well, because it just, if you didn't like certain types of games, it's like, all right, the action games, like the sports games, those are a little more engaging for the most part. I've always liked solving a puzzle, which is funny. I'm like, I think I do that a lot when I'm working in the studio. It's like you're just trying to figure something out, and that explains, like, now I'm like, you just helped me connect a piece of myself. I mean, like, yeah, Zelda relates to music, and all the games I end up playing, it's like strategy. Trying to figure out a way to get something done, you make a strategy. So it's,
it just suits your personality.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still there was a Nintendo Switch 2 announcement today and a big trailer, and I watched that this morning, and I'm like, I still love video games. I don't play them as much as I used to, but I tell myself always, I'm like, yeah, I'll find more time, I'll play more games. And
that's awesome. So who would you say your favorite sports team is?
Ooh, growing up in, New Jersey, I always liked the Giants. I've kind of faded out of watching football as much. The last few years I haven't had cable, so I stopped catching the games like every week. But I'd still say I'm a Giants fan. Hasn't been many good years, so I kind of say that like this now, like I'm a Giants fan. Like what was that? And it's like, yeah, what? I didn't hear anything. But maybe this year's our year. I don't know. I know they just signed a new quarterback. I'm hopeful. It would be great, I feel for the Jets fans too. I'm like, our years are coming, guys. Like
right here.
There you go.
Right here. Right. I'm a Jets fan. So like you and I could be, suffering a pain together.
Right. It's a solidarity suffering. And we're used to that.
It's wild because it's like, New York is one of the richest markets in the world. It's got tons of money, but yet both football teams suck. I just don't and they've been awful for, a long time. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Jets, like they have looked better and better. So I'm like, I root for both New York teams. Like I'm not, especially when the Giants aren't doing well. I'm like, at least one of our teams got to win. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I read something the other day of like how much money Yankee Stadium brings, and like when the sports season starts, and I'm like, is all of the favoritism going to the Yankees? Like, forget the Mets, forget the Giants. Like, I like the Yankees too, but I'm like, maybe we need some of their magic power to be a good team. Like, I don't know, but you're right. Like something's got to give. So, maybe next year, maybe this year is our year.
Hopefully with the new coach, Aaron Glenn, and the new GM, and then bringing in Justin Fields, like this will be a start of something special. I mean, one can only hope and pray. So,
yeah, I'm like, anything seems better than the Giants last season too, and this season before that. So it's like, we've had some promise, and it's shown like improvement, but it made the easy decision where I'm like, am I going to get cable this, or am I going to subscribe to YouTube TV for this football season? And then like, after I see the first couple games, I'm like, nah, maybe next year.
What a waste of money.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, oh man, what a waste of energy sometimes when all you want is them to win and it might not happen.
Constantly disappointing you.
Right. I think that's the funny thing, unless you're just like a strict Yankees fan, like we're all used to that in New York. It's not like the Brooklyn Nets have been fantastic in basketball either. And, whether they were the New Jersey Nets before Knicks, I guess they eat a little better. And Rangers fans, my brother-in-law's an Islanders fan. I'm like, one of these years, but I'm like, we got some great talent, but none of us seem to win, except the Yankees. So
can't really do much with it.
Yeah.
That's funny. So if you had $1 million and you could donate to any charity, which one?
Ooh, that's a great question, man. I think right away my mind went to like couple charities that hit close to home because of family, multiple sclerosis, MS. My father's had MS since 1995, and I know how wild of a disease it is. I think that would be amazing to see a cure in our lifetime, or, I know they're always getting breakthroughs. MS Society, or like the Alzheimer's foundations. My grandfather had Alzheimer's, and it's, it was a really rough thing to deal with. I have some friends that have dealt with Alzheimer's with their family, and it's super tough when, it's not just your usual age progression. You see someone sort of change and kind of lose themselves. And this is the same for a lot of diseases, but I think I would go towards those two just because of how it's impacted my life. And yeah, it would be amazing to see, like Alzheimer's nursing homes with like the quality of care that, it's a little, you need a lot more help than a normal nursing home. So that would be cool to help, even if it's just one center, become like a really good spot for people to live, because those are tough things to watch. It would be awesome to do that. I wish I could drum up more money for something like that, because it's like, yeah, why not? Like, you could change someone's life with doing something like that. But that's a good question. I like that. You're keeping me on my toes here, Dave.
That's what I'm trying to do. But no, that's really dope, and I feel you as far as Alzheimer's. Like, I've lost people to it, so I definitely feel you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, it's rough. it's hard to watch because it's such a rapid or sometimes slow change. And it sucks when you see someone lose a piece of themselves that made them them. You try to keep that light alive for as long as possible. And yeah, it's a challenge, I think, because you don't really, it's not like a one size fits all thing. So having care that's personalized is probably the best thing you could hope for. But I know that's not possible for everyone. And it's like sometimes the patients themselves, the people, they don't want to admit that's what's going on. So it's got to be even weirder for them. You know, something that they're dealing with is a whole nother aspect. So yeah, it's rough. There's a lot of rough diseases out there and things like that, but that's a challenge, you know.
This is true.
Yeah.
So if you go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be?
Oh man. Damn. I'm like, you know, I guess in the last I'm not as big a history buff as I should be. But I think, I don't know, like picking the brain of someone like you know, JFK or like Winston Churchill. Like I think of these guys that, you know, kind of stood for things over the years and weren't afraid to like make things right. I'm probably going to show my ignorance if I talk any further on it because I don't know all that much. But history is one of those things you can learn how the future might go from learning a bit more about history. And I think, you know, during war times, seeing these guys handle things, you know, especially like Churchill, that can't be an easy thing. So making tough decisions that, you know, I hate using even the term like greater good, but it's like, yeah, sometimes you need someone that's cut to make really hard calls that, you know, times of peace don't really create those kinds of leaders in the same way that I feel like times of duress and stress create, you know, of course, sometimes it creates the opposite of that, real big villains. But I think that would be pretty cool to be like a fly on the wall for some of those like meetings, or even just to be like, yeah, I'm here to interview you, you know, about what's going on in the world. And, you know, that would be pretty cool. I'm reading a book right now that sort of takes place during World War II. So I'm thinking about that. It's like, oh, I need to learn more and more about everything because, you know, I spend too much time listening to music, you know, and I'm like, that's good. But you know, I think a good balance of education is important. And like, yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to be thinking about that one for a couple of weeks now, probably.
What can I say? I have that, you know, impact on people.
That's good. I'm going to be like, I said Churchill. Is that really it? And it's like,
but no, either one of those would be cool and like fascinating and, you know,
yeah,
right
because
on.
obviously Kennedy had a lot of stuff going on and was assassinated, and there, you know, the change he was trying to make to the world and the country was pretty big, and then he got assassinated. And there's a lot of stuff that, you know, I know the JFK files just came out, like they got declassified a couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of things that, you know, you go through school and you kind of think, you know, and then when you get a little older, you have this new perspective and you're like, man, either I was taught like this to skim the surface, or like there is just a lot more that I could learn about all of this. And, you know, I don't know if it impacts my daily life to learn this stuff, but I've realized it's like, I think it's just important to learn where we all came from, and that way we can kind of make a better decision about where we go from there.
Faux show. All right, last question. Where are some places in Jersey, in Oak Ridge, in Jersey, that visitors should check out?
Oh, well, Oak Ridge is a bit of I call it West Jersey because it's like there's a lot of roads without like houses. You're just kind of driving through the woods, it feels like. This one, my favorite spot, I have 2 spots in town, and there's probably only like 4 spots in town. So it's like 2 of the 4 are my favorite. A deli called Ding Dong Deli. It's amazing, amazing food. You call them on the phone, they pick up and they're like, ding dong. And you're like, what'd you just call me, man? It's like, oh, never mind. Can I order a breakfast sandwich? They make, you know, everything delis make, but it's such a cool, personable little spot. The staff are super nice. it makes me want to be like a small town person for my whole life and like know who everyone is and you know, have conversations with them. But I haven't broken that barrier yet with them. I think they recognize me, but I'm like, I get too awkward to be like, so what are you doing today? You know, I'd be like, I wouldn't have anything good to say. But the other place that's conveniently in the same parking lot as Ding Dong Deli is a place called Three Brothers Pizza. And more brothers, the better when it comes to pizza. I think, you know, grew up on Two Bros in the city when I was there. And it's like, no, Three Bros is it. Very nice, funny, cool people, great pizza. I mean, I eat more pizza than anyone should, but your New Jersey, New York area, it's kind of like part of the diet, you know?
Pizza's king.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Jersey pizza is king.
Yep. Yeah, there's something about the water everyone says, and I'm like, I want to know more, but I kind of don't. You know, I'm fine just eating the pizza. I don't want to know what's in our water.
Sometimes less is more.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, I know the mafia was big. Yeah, I don't want to go into that. Yeah, the pizza's good. I'll have a glass of water from the New York tap as well, and hopefully don't turn into a, you know, an alien.
So when I come out to see you in a couple weeks, we can hit those spots up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, the deli makes amazing, you know. I've been getting I don't know what they call it, like a something Americana or something, but it's like, you know, the chicken cutlet with American cheese and bacon. And, you know, you can't go wrong with like a good hero from any Jersey deli. This place is just so good. Their eggplant is good. Their Italian combos are great. What's funny is people are like, do they have a menu? And I'm like, they don't. They make anything. It's like they make deli food. And I used to be like, no, I on a menu, but now that I'm going there, I'm like, let me build the best sandwich I possibly can. And if I am lost, I'll ask this person for advice. What goes well with chicken cutlet? You know, it's like everything.
Interesting. That's an interesting business move.
Yeah, they've got like a small menu when you walk in, but it's like tuna fish, provolone and Swiss. And you're like, oh, that's like, I know those sandwiches. I don't need to read a menu. But you know how some places will have like 30 fancy names. You're like, I think I want the Godfather Supreme. I don't know why, but it sounds like I want it, you know? But I've learned to appreciate their food. The pizza place is great too. It's just like, I don't know. There's something about like, I haven't had too many pizza places in Jersey that suck, but there are enough that aren't, you know, preferred if you're going to go to a good one. And I'm lucky that place, the studio, has that pizza place, because I'm like, you can't have a studio without pizza, right? Like I'd have to make them all day. So
that's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting up a little bit, and the support means the world to me.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. It's so cool to talk to you for an extended period, and I'm like, we can keep going. I feel like when we get to the studio, we'll have some great talks. And you know, thank you for letting me be a guest and asking some great questions, and for doing this for, you know, the music scene, keeping it alive, like helping promote bands, helping promote producers. Like that's awesome. And I think that's something I was like super excited to just be a part of, because I'm like, yeah, Dave is the man and he's doing fun stuff. I want to support that however I can. And now you're supporting me, so I owe you some support, man.
In the end, we all win. And going back to what you said before, it's just, you know, it's a Jersey thing.
Yep.
So I tell people like out here in Hershey, just like Jersey people, I mean, we just like to talk. We talk with our hands. We get really excited. We're passionate about, you know, music and skateboarding and video games and whatever. So
And pizza.
and pizza and beer. We love our craft beer.
So many good breweries popping up. There's actually a bunch not too close to the studio, but like in the last 5 years, like a bunch of smaller breweries that are popping up. And it's like, man, Jersey makes good beer too. So hopefully we'll be known for that in a couple of years as well.
Oh, for sure. Well, for the people that are going to watch this interview later, where can they find you at?
I have a very easy to remember website. It's stevekellner.com. And that's STEVEKELLNER.com. That's like my general studio page, me as a producer, some of the music I've worked on. I also make a lot of my own music. You can find me on Instagram under The Burn Room Recording, which is my studio page. But you could also find me on Instagram just under Stephen Kellner. So I confuse people here, Stephen with a PH. But, you know, there are more confusing names out there. So this one's just kind of pretty simple. But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and then my website. But all of the above. I'm working on the TikTok angle. I'm a little too old for that, I feel like, but I'm starting to realize that's an excuse. So I made one recently, but I'm just working on getting it going, you know.
That's funny. Do what the man says. Go to all the websites, like them all, support local engineers. Steve is absolutely killing it. He's one of my favorite people in the scene. And you should also go and listen to his band Roderick and his old band Van Atta High.
Yeah. Fun little news I might share with you on this. And I don't care who knows it, but I think we might record a new song this year for Van Atta High, just getting the guys back in the room and see what happens. You know, I'm maybe speaking too soon, but I'm kind of trying to manifest it, you know, just for old time's sake.
Well, now, what is it? 8th grade Dave is coming out.
Yes. Yes.
14-year-old Dave is coming out now.
If we got gang vocals, I'm going to get you in the gang.
Dude, sign me up. You don't have to say more.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Well, I hope you have a great night, and we'll chat soon.
All right, Dave. You're the man. I appreciate you.
Peace.
Peace.